Welcome to the Ask Coach Mac podcast, where coaches from around the world get their strength and conditioning questions answered.
What's up, guys? Rob McKeefery here, and welcome to episode number 13 of Ask Coach Mac. Thank you so much for joining me today. We have a great question from Justin. Before we get to that, I want to thank today's sponsor, Iron Grip. Iron Grip is the largest provider of commercial weight equipment worldwide and the only manufacturer with a line of exclusively American-made free weight equipment. Their equipment can be found in premier facilities in over 60 countries, including 3 facilities that I've put together. They are the industry leader and my go-to choice for bars, plates, and dumbbells. For more information, go to irongrip.com, follow them on Twitter at @iron_grip, or call my buddy Chris DeSanto at 509-230-3124. All right, here's today's question from Justin.
Hey, Coach Mac. As a published author yourself, I'm going on a limb here, assuming that you've done a number of reading in your lifetime. I was wondering what your top list of books would be in regards to becoming a better strength coach. And this can be from a science standpoint, this can be from a life or a motivational or kind of just bettering yourself as a person standpoint. I'm going to leave that up to you. Thanks.
Justin, I get this question quite a bit, and I appreciate you asking it. With books, I was not much of a reader in college or high school for that matter. I basically read 1, maybe 2 books in college, and just maybe 1 or 2 books in high school. And it wasn't until I really got into my professional career that I started reading. But now I'm an avid reader. I read pretty much a book a week. Now I say read, sometimes that's listen, sometimes that's a short ebook. It's really whatever, it's my list, so it's whatever I decide it to be. But I want to make sure that I'm constantly feeding my brain with information that's out there. And so what I've arrived at is a 3-week rotation where I read a strength and conditioning book 1 week. I read a leadership, motivation, or business book the 2nd week. And then in the 3rd week, I read a family book that's specific to something that's going on in our family at that time. And so those are obviously no particular order. If I was putting them in order, obviously I'd put a family book at the top. But my point is that those are the 3 areas of my life, and I want to work consistently at becoming the best version of myself in all 3 of those areas. And so you asked me for a book in those areas. I think for strength and conditioning, I think obviously you have to start with the Essentials book. I know that sounds like an obvious answer, but pretty much every time that they've come out with a new edition, or once a year, I'll reread the Essentials text, and I've always gotten something out of it that I missed the first couple times around. And so I would start there. High Performance Training for Sport by David Joyce, I think, is a recent text that was put out that was fantastic. That was written in common language, and one that everybody can get a ton of great information out there. I've become friends with David, and he's top notch. And the authors that contributed are some of the best in the world. And then I think the 3rd book I would recommend in strength and conditioning is A Path to Athletic Power. I think so many times we get caught up in just the science just the program design elements of strength and conditioning, and we really miss out on how to run a strength and conditioning program. And I think Boyd Epley with The Path to Athletic Power did a great job and has been a leader in our industry from pretty much the very beginning. I think from a leadership, motivation, and business, lots of books here. 21 Irrefutable Laws by John Maxwell is probably my favorite leadership book. Motivational would be probably Uncommon by Coach Tony Dungy, or who I worked with at Tampa, or Legacy, the story of the All Blacks, one of the winningest professional sport organizations in the world. I think are fantastic books. I think when I was searching from a business perspective and really getting outside of my strength and conditioning bubble, 4-Hour Work Week was a book that I stumbled across going through kind of a moment of transition at South Florida. And obviously you're a strength coach working hundreds of hours a week and walking into the bookstore, the idea of a 4-hour work week sounds incredible. Obviously, that's not the case. You're not just going to be able to get 4 hours, but the messages in the book by Tim Ferriss really catapulted me into this entrepreneurial type of mindset that I have in looking at strength and conditioning from a business perspective. So I would highly recommend that book. E-Myth Revisited was kind of the inspiration for my book, The CEO Strength Coach, by Michael Gerber. I think that's a fantastic book as well. From a family standpoint, I like to read books that my kids are reading. It gives us something that we can talk about. I think that's probably a good place to start. Usually quick reads, but gives you some ways to connect with your kids. I think The 5 Love Languages is a great one. Being able to really identify where your family, your wife, your husband, your kids, your extended family, what their love languages are and how you can touch them, and what makes the most impact on them. Lead for God's Sake was a great book, not just from a leadership standpoint for your athletes, but within your own family. And I think last one I would recommend is Leading in a Modern Day Knight. Is all about kind of creating ceremonies and letting your kids know when they've arrived at pivotal moments in time, and creating these ceremonies. So it's not just when they're, when are they an adult, when they have sex for the first time, when they drink alcohol for the first time, when they, when they're 18, when they can vote, whatever, that's what society says. But, in medieval time is the word I'm looking for. Modern day, they had these ceremonies. They went from squire to page to knighthood, and there was all these ceremonies that kind of marked when they met that standard to go to the next level. And so I thought that was a fantastic book for that. So those are some recommendations in those areas. I think the main thing is to figure out how you can consume that information while you're also coaching those 100 hours a week. And so, Audible, I've partnered with Audible, audibletrial.com/IGCT. You can get a free book, get a free trial. And that's a great way. I listen to books in and out from work every single day. Ebooks I think are fantastic. And then just getting books from used bookstores. I go to used bookstores. There's one in Knoxville that we'll go to all the time. Where I'll pick up 15, 20 bucks for pennies on the dollar, and have a ton of books to choose from when I'm going on flights or sitting on buses or whatever. So, Justin, I hope that answers your question. Would love to hear what everyone else thinks. Use the hashtag AskCoachMac13 to continue the discussion over on Twitter. I want to encourage everyone else that if you have a question that you would like potentially featured on the show, head over to www.askcoachmac.com. There you can ask your question by hitting the record button at the bottom of the page. Thanks so much. I appreciate you guys. And here's a quote to finish off the day by Dr. Seuss, one of my favorite books for my kids. The more you read, the more things you know, the more that you learn, the more places you'll go. Take care, guys. I'll see you in the next episode of Ask Coach Mac. Bye for now.